Welcome to the Becoming Aware podcast, where I, Genevieve Faulkner, share what I'm becoming aware of. Hello and welcome to Becoming Aware. My name is Genevieve Faulkner, your host, and today I want to talk to you guys about your relationship with technology. So this is something that I've been it's just been pinging in my awareness after watching just this YouTube video called The AI Dilemma, which I will leave a link to below this video in case anyone is interested in watching it. What they were talking about in that video was about just how advanced the AI technology is becoming, but that they don't really have the ability at the moment to kind of control that. Like AI has the ability to kind of learn and change at a speed at which they can't really monitor. And so they were that video was really about us, trying to bring to people's attention that, maybe using AI for everything isn't necessarily a good thing. So it was something for me that made me kind of question where I'm being too dependent on technology. And I wanted to invite you guys to look at this also. For me, I could see where it's with the way that the world is and with AI kind of just getting smarter and smarter and smarter, we have an ability to become very reliant on it. And I kind of linked it to abusive relationships, because within my line of work, helping people to really step into their power and, create their reality the way that they desire to create it, and really kind of know themselves. Part of the way in which to get there, it kind of requires an unraveling of the past belief systems that people have functioned from based upon the programming that they grew up with or based upon the relationships that they experienced. And there's a lot of places and spaces in I would say a lot of people's lives on this planet where they've been entrained and programmed to give up being the source. They've been entrained and programmed into making something greater than them. They've been entrained and programmed into dependency on others. And this is something that filters through the DNA. There's such a cycle of repetition with that kind of programming. It's if your parents were dependent, they were entrained in dependency through their parents, and so on and so on and so on. It just keeps going back. So what I was looking at was when people have abusive relationships, if it's a physical or a sexual abusive relationship, it's usually quite easy to see that it is an abusive relationship. But when something is a mentally abusive relationship or an emotionally abusive relationship, and it's designed, in a way to create that person becoming dependent on the other, that can be something that is created very gradually and very covertly in a way that you don't even realize you're experiencing it until sometimes it's people will get to a point and they'll feel completely powerless and not know how to change things, and because they're so isolated from the situation. And I think that with what is occurring with technology at the moment, we are in danger of having that kind of situation occurring with technology, where if you're using it in a way, to get your needs met, but you're not actually going beyond that being the source, then you may, wake up in 5 years' time and not have great social relationships. You may your brain may not be working as well as it may could be, because the more you kind of, your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the greater it gets. And if you're relying on AI technology instead all of the time, then that can start to kind of become kind of lazy, So what I wanted to invite you guys to look at is, what are you using technology for? And don't get me wrong, like, I love technology. I use it all the time. But where, if anywhere, are you using it in a way that is a detriment to you? So one of the things that I would invite you to look at, because something that kind of, I guess, that was pinging me about this whole thing was that technology is a very easy way of creating avoidance. It's kind of like a lot of people will use technology to zone out, to relax, to not have to be present with parts of their life. And part of why people do that is usually because they're avoiding some sort of trauma, or they're avoiding some sort of emotional upset or some sort of pain from the past that they don't know how to deal with, they don't know how to move on from. And so they just kind of want to shut it out and push it to the side. And so then they'll kind of, zone out and maybe overuse technology as a way of coping. And that doesn't create your life. That doesn't create greater for you. That creates something that maybe you don't want, because effectively, if you are using technology to avoid being present with yourself, because of some sort of trauma that you have, or because of some sort of pain from the past, or perhaps, pain of abusive relationships or whatever, then you may be at risk to then recreating what it is that you've already experienced. But instead of having that be recreated with people, you have that recreated with technology. Okay, so rather than doing that, because this is what happens, is it's like anything that you solidify within your subconscious, anything that's unresolved, the brain will constantly be trying to work out how to resolve it. But what happens is situations get recreated to try and get you to resolve the situation. And so rather than living in a reality where you end up perpetrating a cycle of something that you don't want on yourself, what if you actually took a moment to look, hang on a minute, is there places and spaces where I'm avoiding me? Am I using technology to do that? Am I using something else to do that? And what is it? If that went away, what is it would I have to be present with in my life? What is it that I'd have to be willing to actually address and maybe change? Are you using technology as a way of avoiding change? Like, if it wasn't there for you, if you weren't able to kind of rely on it all the time, if you weren't using it to kind of pass the time or have social connections, what would you have to choose different? And maybe start making some different choices. Like, what if you could create something greater for yourself by actually addressing what is required to address in order to move forward, instead of keeping yourself in a place of, limbo. Because if you're using technology in that way, you may be sticking yourself in a place of limbo. If you require assistance with that, you're more than welcome to book sessions with me, or join my Being the Source program, which is something that I've created to assist people to unlock those places and spaces where they have given up being the source, where they are stuck in trauma from the past, where they have given control of their choices or their reality over to other people. And it allows people to kind of step much more into the power to create their reality. So you can check that out below this video if you would like to. But yeah, I hope that this video has contributed to you, because I don't want to be on the bandwagon of technology is bad and wrong, and I don't know, the world's headed for complete destruction or anything like that. I just am aware that perhaps there is just a certain type of person that maybe is in danger of creating something that they don't desire with AI technology if they're not actually looking at what is up in their world and what it is that they're choosing right now with technology. So if what I've said like kind of creates a ping in your world, look at it, check it out. What if you made some different choices now? And, you know, whatever it is that you're avoiding, there is nothing that is greater than you. Like whatever, we have a tendency, especially with trauma, if it is something traumatic, we have a tendency to often want to avoid it because in the moment we felt helpless or in the moment we felt powerless. And so we think that we don't have the power to change things, but actually that was just that moment. And when you revisit things, when you're actually willing to be present with something that has occurred, often, you know, you'll find out that you are way more powerful than you realize, and you have the capacity to transmute and transform anything from the past that is, you know, that at that time may have been too hard to deal with. So I hope that contributes, guys. And if there is anything that you'd like me to do a video or a podcast on, feel free to get in touch, send me an email message, or leave me a comment. If you have anything else to say, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, thanks guys for listening. Till next time.